minutes and then questions. Or if you have questions throughout, you can feel free to ask.
Did you also tell them that we would be doing
Yeah, they're on their best behavior. Okay, everyone there?
I'll be there in a second.
Okay. Got you a, yes ma'am.
I'm so sorry to
You're fine.
cut you on. Could you start again so officially so that
We will. Yeah,
so at
I'm
least
not officially started yet.
okay.
I'm just trying to tell everyone to
Just
get
thinking
there.
about the recording.
Yeah. I called our IT person for you, and because you still had a student profile even though you graduated, so they're in the process of creating a professional one. So you might not be able to like go along, but you'll be able to watch, and then. But it's not very complex. Yeah. And this is a very basic training of Mapworks today. If you want further, more in-depth training that can be offered, is just more as if you would like it. And I'll go over some ways that you could use it, and if that sparks your interest, then we can set those up in the future. But we'll officially get started. So I think everyone knows me, but I'm Matt. I work in the retention office, and we're here to do the basic Mapworks training. So as I always find Mapworks, because sometimes there's a link in an email you'll get about a Mapworks referral, and that link for some reason does not work with our credentials. I don't know why the login doesn't work. It's just a bug that they're aware of, and I believe trying to fix. But through our MyGate, you can either go through the Employee tab. If you scroll in the Employee tab, on the left-hand side, you'll have Bookmarks Plus, or General, I believe it is. No, it's Bookmarks Plus, yeah. And you can click on Mapworks. It's a blue hyperlink. Or you can go to your Teaching Advising tab, and you will scroll down, and Mapworks is the first one under General. So I'll show you Employee as well. So I know not everyone here is a teacher or anything. So again, under Employee, Bookmarks Plus, you'll have Mapworks. So if you click on Mapworks, it should prompt you to your opening screen, which this is called your dashboard. Now my dashboard is a little more intense than all of yours because I'm the central coordinator. I have access to all students. So my numbers look a little different. We have a retention team, and I'll explain kind of what the team feature is in a minute. So that is going to be possibly a little different. And if you all want a team feature, we can set that up. It's easy. And again, we'll explain that in just a few minutes. On the bottom left-hand side here, the referral piece. So if you're assigned a referral, as you can tell today I got blown up, had 3 this morning, and now it's 14. So this is your referral piece. It tells you a brief overview, preview of the referrals, who they are, how many you have, and then in the far right corner, the survey completion. So it's kind of looks like almost like a Facebook profile page. They modeled it after that. And there's some things up top there that we can go over very generally. If it's something you want to go into detail more, we can. But I always like to give a little background on Mapworks. So Mapworks was purchased in 2012 as a solution to the homegrown system we had here. When Jamie Mantooth and Ben Stennett were hired on, there was a homegrown system, and one of the biggest problems with it was that if a professor, a faculty member, anyone on campus were to send in a referral, it was on either an email or a sheet of paper, and then it was kind of gone, like a black hole. There was no follow-up, there was no tracking of it, there was no logging contacts so people could see it. So a lot of people didn't put the effort into making a referral because they felt it went nowhere. So they did some research, and they found Mapworks, and is a retention-based software, so a lot of the things you'll see will be based off if the student plans on coming back or not. And that is why we have Mapworks. They switched from about 2 years ago to the cloud servers, to where they went from about 27 servers to 3. So it runs more efficiently now. And I like it. I think it's just something that for people who have been here a little longer, you got to get over the new look of it. It can be kind of intimidating. Changes never wanted, or it can be a little scary. But again, here's your dashboard. So we'll go into how to find a student, how to create a referral, how to log a contact, and then what a student's profile page looks like. So I always use a gentleman named Caleb Houston out of our office. He has agreed to let us use him as a candidate, an example. And how you search for a student is the top right corner. You'll see a search bar. And in that search bar, you can search for a student 3 ways: by their name, their email, or their M number. Now, depending on who the student is, they have a very unique last name. You can probably just search by their email. But if it's like a Smith, like an A Smith, there's probably 100 of those. So you might spend a lot of time really logging through. So if you know their email address with a number, that always helps tremendously. If you know their M number, or you can just type first and last name and scroll until you find it, whatever works best for you. So as you type in their name, it'll pop up, and you highlight over, click on it, and you will be prompted to the student's profile page. So what this gives you is a brief look at the student. So in case you're referred a student that you don't know what they look like, and they're sitting in your office lobby, and you want to have some type of comfortability, say, hey, you're so-and-so, as opposed to, going, who are you here for? Just makes it hopefully a little more smooth, but be careful. The seniors who have pictures from their freshman year are often far different than what they look like in their senior year. Had a gentleman like this who was clean cut in his freshman picture, and he came to me with dreadlocks. So it can be deceiving, but it's just supposed to help you kind of give you a brief view of what they look like. You have their M number, their email address, and 2 phone numbers listed. Now, sometimes they're the same, but when they fill out that information, I think for orientation, you're supposed to list a home phone number or primary phone number and then a mobile phone. So those will also be listed in there, because sometimes maybe a referral is important enough where you want to just give them a call, and if they're not responding to emails. Below it, in this orange line, you'll have updated information regarding our Mapworks survey, which we launch twice a year, one in the fall, one in the spring. The one in the spring is going out February 7th, and it'll be available till March 10th. And you can see that Caleb has responded to it, and when the survey was launched and when it closed. So very brief information. On the far right, or my far right, you're going to see a circle with a question mark in it. That is the risk indicator that Mapworks identifies students as. Mapworks has identified a computer algorithm that is supposed to identify or put students into certain risk groups. So it's like a stoplight. When you saw on my dashboard where I had that circle with the colors, green is good. So your student has been identified based off Mapworks data, based off of interactions with faculty and staff, referrals or lack thereof, or the survey information from the questions they answered, that they are good to go. They're not at risk students. We feel pretty confident in them progressing. Yellow is that there might be a small issue, maybe something we want to look into, take aware of. Like I know, for example, one of Caleb's questions that prompted him yellow in a survey was that he studies less than 10 hours a week. Well, when Caleb answered that, it was the 3rd week of classes, and it wasn't very in-depth stuff, so he wasn't studying a whole lot. So again, take those with a grain of salt, do some investigation to make sure if they have merit or if it's circumstance-based. And then you have your red 1 and red 2. Now, red 2 obviously is your highest alert for a student that you're worried about them based off high school GPA, college GPA, all those factors that we've already talked about. And again, I never identify or tell a student what they're identified as in that system. It's just like in our office, we want to run a campaign to help out students who are identified as yellow who are a commuter, because maybe we're thinking that commuter part is at risk where they could teeter-totter into being a red. So again, we're not going to say, hey, you're a yellow student. We want to help you. It's more of, okay, what do we want to do in our office that can help retain students better? Maybe we need to target the yellow groups or the red groups. So that's how we use it. And then to the right of that, you'll see that door. That door is since Mapworks is a retention-based software, we're going to keep track of if students want to stay here or not. So the green door, outlined and closed, means that Caleb, through his interactions with faculty and staff, through his survey data, has indicated to us that he wants to stay here. If it is yellow or red and it's like half opened, it's a little different. That means the student has identified that he or she really wants to leave, or that it's a possibility for them. When we'll look at referrals and contacts, and there's always a button where you can hit student indicated to leave. And if they indicated to leave, it's going to prompt it to being aware, because again, we want students to stay here. So that's going to be something we pay attention to. And again, I don't say, hey, your door's yellow, we need to meet. It's just more of, maybe when you sit down and meet with them, you say, so I see that maybe you're thinking about leaving Murray. Is there anything that we could do to help you stay here? It's just another great way to prompt conversation and direct it to keeping the student here. Any questions about the general stuff? I don't want to go too fast or blow anyone over. Okay, so we'll go to making a referral first. And as you scroll down here, you'll see more about the student's profile, and we'll go into this before we leave today. So first, to make a referral, You'll see this number 1. Now, I made this referral on Caleb on Wednesday, and that is if Caleb has an open referral, and then right below it is total referrals. So that helps us, especially in the retention office, if a student says they've never been contacted by the office or the university, we can see if they've had any activity on their profile. But if I wanted to make a referral on Caleb because I was worried about him missing class, I would click or have my cursor over make a referral, left click, and it'll prompt you to a screen like this. Now, a referral is a request for action or a call for action. You're asking whoever you send it to do something. So in our office, we do an email. And if it's like, let's say you send an email on Tuesday, if they don't hear back from them, we'll send another email on Friday, a follow-up. And if we don't hear back from them over the weekend, we usually give them a phone call Monday or Tuesday, and then we contact the advisor. So once you send us a referral and we close it, it does not mean that we have solved the issue and met with the student, but it's meant that we have taken action. We cannot keep all these referrals open and still be organized. So that's our process of it. It's not that we forgot about it. We have a Excel spreadsheet we share in our office that keeps track of the students, when we've contacted them, when we need to have it done by, if we've reached out to our advisor. So please don't take that as in we don't care, we're done. It's just keeping it orderly and sane. So in our policy is if you send us a referral within 48 business hours, we would have reached out to the student. That is our policy. We always try to follow. And if you do not hear back from us within 48 business hours, please feel free to give us a call and see what's going on. But 48 business hours. So when you refer a student, again, this is the screen that'll pop up. First, you're going to have the reason. Now, sometimes you might have many reasons why you're referring the student. Unfortunately, some of our students have a lot of things going on in their lives that cause them to struggle. You hit this drop-down box, and you have to select one. You can only select one. So, for instance, I'll get a lot of professors to say, well, the student's missing class and not doing work. I say, okay, what do you think is the stem of them struggling? So usually if they're not coming to class, they're probably not going to do their work, right? Because they're not going to know how to do it. So I would say then you just label that as a classroom attendance concern. But the neat thing is you have academic issues, personal issues, and financial issues, or a Mapworks related issue. If something in the system is wrong, you notice it, you'd like us to look into it further, you can do that. But again, you can refer a student for any of these reasons. And you'll see positive areas in there. I haven't seen many positive referrals, but you'll see a lot of positive content. I think it's really great to make this mindset of retention being negative or bad to where maybe we can have positive context with the student and see that and then praise the student for that. I think we're trying to shift towards that as well. So you would select one. So you have the class attendance concern, and then you're assigned to, you're going to pick the person that you want to take action on this. So you have each student is connected with a group of public users on their account, and public means everyone they're connected to, so like professors, advisors. Caleb's a part of White Residential College, so he has the White Residential College RD, the White Residential College head on his account. Not everyone's going to have that. It's contingent. So you'll see down here public. It's not really public. It's public to their network. So everyone is labeled or has connections based off their semester activity, classes, stuff like that. But then you also have campus resources, which are available to every student. I think there's about 10 listed. So you have counseling, retention office, multicultural affairs, student support services, women's center, a whole bunch of good stuff like that. So again, you can select who you want to address the issue based off the issue and who you think would be best fit to do so. And if you have no idea who to send it to, you just know the student needs help, you can hit central coordinator on the very bottom. That goes to me. And a lot of times, like mental health, if a student or a professor's worried about a student's mental health, I'm not a counselor, not going to pretend to be. If they met with me, I'd tell them to go to counseling. So I would edit that referral to Angie Trespass and have her and her staff reach out to her. So again, we're a catch-all. We want to help you all, make it easy as possible. We know you have a lot on your plate. So if you don't know who to go to, hit that central coordinator button and it'll go to me or our office. And then a feature that Mapworks has added is called the interested parties. You do not have to select one of these, but let's say that I know Caleb and I'm referring him to the retention office because I'm his professor. I know he's not going to class, but I also know that Mike Young is his fraternity advisor. Now, I necessarily know that Mike Young probably can't handle another referral because he's got enough on his plate, but I want Mike to know that, hey, Caleb's not going to class. I want you to be aware. I can select Mike Young as an interested party. So Mike is aware of the referral, but does not have to take action. You can select as many as you would like to or as little. Again, there are the campus connections or campus resources and the people that are connected in his inner circle that semester is the options you'll have. So a lot of times athletes who get referred will be referred to Matt Kelly, but then we'll be notified and just made aware of it. So we don't really do much of the athletes because that's Matt Kelly's job and his staff, but we're made known. But again, don't have to do this, but it's just another feature if you'd like to. And then below that, you will add your comments on why you're referring to the student. So class attendance, not doing the work, whatever. You don't have to put anything here, but the more information you give, the more my conversation or the person's conversation can be forward driving and not really trying to lay the foundation. Because if you say he's class attendance concern, okay, are you a professor who refers a student after one missed class, or has he missed 3 straight, or 2 weeks, or a month? And if I don't know that, I have to kind of go off what the student says, and I can't trust. As you unfortunately know, students will say certain things to get out of trouble or to get their way. So the more information you can put in here, the best to help whoever's handling the referral. And then below that, you will have details. You would just select whatever one applies to you. So if you've already discussed the issue with the student, maybe select that to where I ask, if you talk to a professor and they'll say no, like, well, your professor has indicated that I ask a lot of questions I know the answer to at first, so I can see how truthful that student's going to be with me to kind of gauge the conversation. Can I take them for their word, or do I need to be really cautious? Sometimes you do not want the student to know you referred them, so then you would not click issue may be revealed to student. High priority concern, again, if you're worried about your student and you think it's a high priority concern, go ahead and click that. And then again, with that retention-based software, you're always going to have that question, student indicated to leave. And that's going to affect their door, their risk factor, all that good stuff. And then the bottom here, you would select how you want to share this. So private is where you and the person who you assign the referral to can see only. Now, I know there's some information that's very sensitive and that you want to keep personal. And if I'm not going to tell you to do your job, if that's what you feel it's deemed as, then you go ahead and click that. But if you do that, then if I were to meet with the same student over maybe the same issue, I have no idea what was said, what was talked about, what they're going through. And you kind of have to recreate the wheel and maybe backtrack. And again, if you think information is private, if the student asks for it to be private, then by all means do your job, make that judgment call. But the more public you can make it, and again, public scares people, but it's really just that campus network they have. It helps everyone who's connected with that student to be aware of what's going on. Or if you wanted to ever select team, so for us, we never do private office. If it's private, we do team. So the team is myself, Peggy Whaley, Mike Young, and Elena Stubbs, our GA. And that information is made in our team, the retention office team, because let's say that I was meeting with the student and I'm out for one day because I'm sick or at a conference, and the student needs an emergency meeting with someone in the retention office. They can be aware of what has been going on, even if it's some serious matter stuff, so they can kind of pick up that information from where we left it off, as opposed to wasting an hour, not wasting, sorry, but as using an hour to find out what's been going on. So, you know, if you all wanted to create a team in your office to have information like that, something that can be easily done and selected to help you all. So you have to click on one of these though. So I do almost all mine public, and then you would hit create a referral. And then as you can see, the referral popped up on his. So if I wanted to see what kind of referrals Caleb had, I would hit that too. And you would scroll down. So the referral was created on this date. And you can see that the reason is a classroom attendance concern. If you want to see what was the meat of the referral, you click on that blue piece and it'll bring up this screen again, public. So that's how you create a referral and submit a referral. Yes, ma'am.
Question. So if you put an interested party on there, but then you put like private, does it only share it with that person that you put on there and not anybody else? Or
It would show the interested party.
It would show the interested
yeah.
party, but not. Okay.
But not making it public at all. So it'd just be those three could be able to see it.
Okay.
And again, if you're an interested party, all you get is an email saying so-and-so has labeled you as an interested party in this referral. It does not pop up in your dashboard. It's just a certain email that lets you see it. So if you want to take a look at what the student's struggling with, you can. But yes, that's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but that's a good question. But yeah, that's what it would do. Anything else? Good? Okay. So next we'll go to log a contact. So let's say that, again, sent that referral about Caleb. And again, sorry, I need to break down one more thing for you. So if you met with Caleb, if you're the person who got this referral, and let's say you reached out to him, you have sent that email to him or that contacts him in class, whatever, you would hit referral, And if you want to close the referral, like when you have taken that action, you just go in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, mark referral is closed. So we still see it here. There was still a referral, but it's closed. It's been acted on. So simple step, but just to let you know, that's how you would close a referral. But if you have got that referral and you have met with Caleb, or you've emailed him, or you've called him, and you want to log that contact, you would, again, hover over. It's very similar to make a referral. Hover over, like make a contact or log a contact. You would hit select your reason. It's the same reasons as before. So you just scroll down on whatever you all met about. It does not have to be the same thing as referral. Most of the times it is, but I'm not going to tell anyone how to do their job. If you met and you realize there's a much bigger issue there, then go ahead and label that contact as that bigger issue. So you would select one of these. You would select the contact type. So we have interaction and non-interaction. So your interactions are here as listed. One of the things that I think people get confused about is email from student or email to student, if that's an interaction or not. I log it as an interaction if the student emailed me back, if we had a conversation. If I just send an email to a student and maybe I haven't heard back from a while, but I just want to log like, hey, I tried doing this, I use it as a non-interaction. But again, you all do your judgment call, but that's just how I do it. Written communication might be something that you write if you have them in class. I know some of us teach the transitions courses, and on the paper and you write, hey, you can see me after class. Or, hey, I saw you plagiarizing, whatever it is, you can put it down as that. And then your non-interactions are a little shorter. And then again, if you can't really categorize it, you have other interaction or other non-interaction. So again, use your best judgment, whatever you feel is the best. And then Mapworks also has put into this timestamp. So again, with the 48-hour thing with our office, let's say that I get a referral today at 4:15, and I shoot that person an email, or she gives me a phone call, or he or she gives me a phone call, and we talk, and it's 4:45, and I got to get home for, whatever it is. And I log that, I write it down, whatever, I remember it, and I go home. I don't get a chance to put it in Mapworks. You can come back the next day. You can click on that and be like, well, we actually met the 10th. We actually met this day. I just didn't get to put it in until today. So you can hit the 10th. You can timestamp it according to when the contact happened. And I would do that to your best accuracy because, for example, I had a student this semester who his parents called and said that no one at the university helped them. No one reached out to their student, yada, yada, yada. Well, I reached out to said student many times and timestamped all those. And he's like, well, it was before this certain date. And because I timestamped them accordingly, my contacts were, able to show that we did try to help his student. Just told me he was fine when he was telling mom and dad he wasn't. So again, it just helps you. Again, students will say anything they need to get out of trouble. So just as much as you can be accurate at that, because it oftentimes comes back and we'll get asked, who's met with this student in this time frame, or how many contacts you've had with them. Log as much information here as you can. I try to be as most accurate and professional as I can in these because, again, they can be brought up when Dr. Robertson comes in and asks me a question and he needs me to print them out. I've had to do that before. So try to be as professional as you can, as thorough as you can, is what I do. I over-explain things. You'd enter everything in there. Check all these boxes. I know we kind of already talked about them, so I'm not going to go over them again. But you would check what boxes apply to you. And again, then you would scroll down there and talk about your sharing options. And then you would hit create a contact. Now, the good thing about Mapworks is let's say you forget to hit your sharing option, you will not be able to log it until you do. And that's the same way with the assigned or the reason and the contact type. So it reminds you, because I know sometimes when you get in a hurry, we maybe tend to forget things that you would not want to forget. So group meeting, it was public, and then I'll let you log it. And then down here, you can see it here in the total contacts that Caleb has had, or you can go to the activity stream. Hit show all. And then scroll down and see it. And because I timestamped it, it's going to go before the other things in chronological order, which again just can come back to be very beneficial in case a student tries to sue the university or something like that. Any questions on logging a contact? Good? Cool. Alrighty. One thing real quick too is, let's say that, if I meet with a student and then I hear through the grapevine that something else was going on with them, and maybe I didn't have a contact with that student, you also have the feature of a note. And so maybe I could log a note on the student based off the information that I've heard or have been given, even if I did not interact with the student. So contacts and note are it's like a revolving door. You can kind of put either or, and it's not detrimental if you have one or the other. It still will show up. But a lot of times I'll put notes down if the number in Mapworks doesn't work, or if maybe the mobile phone works and not the primary phone. Just something to help people out. Because when I meet with a student, I try to research or look at a lot of what's already happened before I make that contact with them. So again, you would just, whatever the reason is that they're always the same reasons, put your information in there, and then go over your sharing options. And then you would just hit create a note, and it'll show up in the activity stream. So part of the last thing about the student's profile is you have these tabs down here. So the survey dashboard is all the answers that the survey or the student answered on the survey. Now, a good thing is a lot of times we'll find our students are very honest about these survey questions, more honest than maybe they would face-to-face conversation. So if I see Caleb's already struggled with class attendance, I might kind of stroll down here and see some of his answers and what's going on. And I just think, okay, not going to class, I see time management. Okay, maybe there's a correlation factor that we can talk about. You can click on that, and it's going to give you all the answers on the survey or the questions on the survey that directly affect his time management indicator color score. And so again, you see what kind of makes to-do list, and that notified him as yellow. Now, do I think that you're a bad student if you don't make to-do list? No. But it may just not be the way he thinks. So again, research it to see if it has merit. Again, do you sleep enough? This is not far after fraternity rush. Caleb's a fraternity man. I know they were up late, planning, talking to guys, having meetings about, future guys, setting up for events. So yeah, he probably didn't get a lot of sleep those first 2 weeks of class. Other things were going on. And then again, what time do you exercise or remain healthy? Research it, see if it has merit. But it's a neat little thing that you can drill down a little further when you're meeting with a student. So that's the survey dashboard. And again, we only have one so far from last year, but when we have two after the survey goes out, you'll be able to differentiate between surveys, and then you can differentiate between categories. So behaviors, activities, financial means, all that good stuff. The next is talking points. It's a lot, basically what we just did in the survey dashboard, but the highlights of it. So it'll tell you some weaknesses about Caleb that maybe could come off as things that are concerning. So again, Caleb identified that he studied less than 10 hours a week. If he's studying 9, it's still pretty good, but it's less than 10. So maybe that's something you bring up, but I would not condemn them right off the bat. Again, just have it kind of be aware of what's going on. And then you look at some of his strengths. So research this as you meet with the student, as you're just trying to get a better gauge of how to help the student. A lot of times I take this stuff, you'll get notified if students score low on their ACT. I have students who score 15 on the ACT in math and they want to do engineering. Okay, maybe you have that conversation of like, well, do you realize that engineering is a lot of math? Yeah, I'm good at math. Well, we saw on your ACT score this happened is, have you gotten better? Have you taken tutoring? I just want you to be aware that this could cause you struggles. The next tab is your details. So this tells a lot of more information about the student as far as high school information, his admission information on the top right there. So Caleb first came here in 2014, but he's a readmit. Caleb transferred out and then transferred back in. You see his ACT scores, academic record, class standing, all of this good stuff. That again can just help you as you meet with the student or try to help them, or if someone calls you and asks about them. And then under details, you have even more tabs, which I know we love. We're tab happy here. You can look at their courses, and it'll list the most recent courses they're in to the last. Again, you have course section, the title of the course, the instructor, where it meets and what time. So sometimes we do a thing called bulldogging, to where if we try to reach out to the student we're really worried about and they will not get back to us, then sometimes we've been known to sit outside a classroom and just kind of wait and say, hey, how you doing? I'm Matt from the retention office trying to get a hold of you for the past 2 weeks. I'm really concerned about you. Doesn't happen often, but again, sometimes the circumstance escalates to where we need to take escalated measures. And the neat thing too, I'm not going to do it for Caleb just because I don't want to abuse giving us his access to his profile, but you can scroll down here, and in past semesters, grades are entered. So you can see how they've done in classes. Caleb has really good grades, but again, just try to keep that private for him. But over there where it says absences and grade, if a teacher enter absences, that means that they are on top of it and loved Mapworks. Not all teachers do, but some can. And then you'll have here groups, so you can see where Caleb's connected. Self-explanatory, if they're in a group, that means they're probably part of that area. So all just trying to help us have more information on the student to better help them. Static list, now this might be something that's relevant to you all. So I have static lists of students that I want to keep track of and how they've done. So I have like a static list of students that I've met with this year. And I want to see how they did after we met, and then maybe how they do next semester and their retention efforts and stuff like that. So again, thinking about like for orientation leaders, if you want to see how they're progressing academically, if that's part of your program to show the president that, you know, orientation is helping students succeed academically moving forward, being an orientation leader. Because I know in my previous institution, we had to justify certain offices based off academic progress. You could, you know, so you go to the student's profile, you hit add to a static list, and then you could look at all the students, or you could hit create a new list, add them to a static list, and keep track of that. And you can run reports off it. You can label it as a group. Again, it just might be something that's beneficial for you moving forward. If you ever have advisees, anything like that. And then campus connections, this is his public. So you can just scroll down there, and that is Caleb's public network that you see when you log a contact or make a referral. And then the last is the activity stream, which we already kind of showed. But just make sure you have a little drop-down box where you can sort it. There's notes, contacts, referrals, appointments. We don't use the appointment feature, that costs money. So we just usually have students talk with us about setting an appointment. And then emails. So you can search by, you can sort it out if you want to, or just hit show all. And you can look at the contact you've had with the student. And then a really neat little thing too is if you want to email the student, so a lot of times we do the email feature by reaching out to the student, as opposed to sending it in my Gmail and then copying and pasting as a contact. You can click on the blue hyperlink here, and it sets up an email feature to where it's sent from my address, and that's who they'll respond to. I can blind carbon copy myself if I want it in my Google Mail, because it logs it in Mapworks, but then when they respond, it's in your Gmail. But you can blind carbon copy yourself so it's there. Some people just like that. Type the subject matter, which will show up as a normal subject matter in your email. And then you select the reason of why you're emailing them. That does not show up to the student. It just logs it in Mapworks. And then you would type up an email. And some people are format junkies. I know I like to make sure my emails look good and flow easy. If you format a certain way and it will not show up that same way when Mapworks stores it, due to trying to crunch everything together. But when the student gets it, it'll look the way you formatted it. So don't freak out if you send it and then you scroll down to make sure it logged it and you see it all crunched together and it just doesn't look professional. So it'll show that way up in their Gmail account, just not when Mapworks logs it. And then again, you would hit sharing options on the email, and you hit send email, and it's like it's sent from your Gmail account. So you miss a step of having to copy and paste an email and log it in there. Questions? And it only goes to their Murray State email. So some students are like, well, I use my personal, Yahoo or Hotmail email. Tough luck. You need to use your Murray State email. I know it's super exciting. I can tell it's riveting. And everyone's excited to master Mapworks. But does anyone have any questions about it? I know it's very basic. A lot of it's hopefully self-explanatory. There's a lot of great features of Mapworks. I really like the product. But if you see a bug with it and you see something that maybe could be improved, please pass it along. Like, for example, when we first started out this year in fall, the classes were listed from 14 till most recent. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. So I myself, along with other people, passed that along. And now it's most recent to the last, or to their first. They used to have, the profile picture used to be ginormous. I mean, it used to be from top here to bottom here, much wider. And so a few people passed along that this doesn't make sense, make it smaller. They made it smaller, looks easy, flows more efficient. So if you see something that maybe you think could be an improvement, let us know, and I'll pass it along to our campus contact. But that's the basic training. If you're ever looking to do more, they do reports that you could make a group of students that you want to. and run reports on that student. If you're just not tech savvy and don't have the time for that, I can try to do it for you. I can't promise I'll have it that day or the next day, but if that's something you want me to do, I can make a group for you and then run a report off them and be able to get that information to you. So there's a lot of great things in here, and if that's something that interests you or your office, then we can definitely look into setting up another training that would help you all understand how to do that. And then up here in the top right, you'll have like a little alert system. So again, I was assigned a new referral, so it pops up there that, I've been assigned new referrals. Questions, comments, concerns? I know it's exciting stuff.
Is there a way like that we can be, so like me, my students come here, but I'm probably not assigned to any of them because
Okay.
you all don't necessarily know that they're AIM students when
Yeah.
they come to Murray State. Is there a way for me to communicate that with you so that I can have them in my group?
Yes, sir.
We have to report on them until they
Yeah.
graduate.
If you just send me that each semester, each year, these are the AIM students, then I will update that group each time you send it to me, and then that way I'll give you access to that group. Yeah, it's something that's easy done. It might take a whole day when I give you access for it to kick in, but yeah, that's easy. Yeah, just send me that. If you could send it to me in an Excel spreadsheet with first name, last name, M number, that's all I really need. Emails are great, but just those three things are the main things I need. Yeah. Because then usually if it has the M number, then it'll be identified to the group page and you'll be able to get to them. But yeah, that's not a big deal at all. I prefer if you do that because I'd rather you send me that information in the beginning so I can help you out than, not being able to find it, because I know it's frustrating. And again, I wanted to ask you if you wanted access to all students.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that was my question.
I was
because-
going to give it to you, but I didn't want to ask first.
Yeah, I think right at the beginning of the summer, I had talked to Ben, and I think at that time they were still trying to figure things out with like something had happened, and so
Yeah.
I kind of held off on it for a while.
Mhm.
But I would love that because I was just writing down like every group of students, and it constantly changes every
Yeah.
semester, and so that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because I would love to be able to like log, and especially my one-on-one students that come through the one-on-one programs in the summer. Like I know Dr. Robertson has contacted me about some of them, but I would love to be able for me to just check in on it every once in a while. And if I notice that they're not coming to meet me for lunch, okay, what's going on with them? Are they,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, yeah,
So
we'll do that.
would be awesome.
You should have it then. It should show up either today or tomorrow or Monday.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah, so you'll have that.
That would be awesome.
And then if you see anything messed up with your access, any of you all, or just maybe, hey, like I just started advising a fraternity, so now I have,
Like I was on this before. And
Yeah.
You did give me access to all of the students. So is it the same or did
I can double check it.
I haven't used it in forever.
Yeah.
That's why.
That was it, and I have students on here that are, I think from Tara doing Racer 101, I have like some of the students from Racer 101 like 4 years ago.
Hmm.
So those are the only students that I have on here, but, which makes total sense. And I know like exactly what Steven was asking, could I send a list, but I think because there are so many different students in different groups, I would love having all students. That would be fabulous. And then also, I was gonna say something and I can't remember now. Oh, and the groups, like where you were saying
Mhm.
groups, is that from like the list, like what Steven was saying, that sending you a list and then those students are marked as AIMS, like
Mhm.
within the AIMS group?
Yeah, I can show you what that looks
Are
like.
those like groups that, like say I make a static group of summer O counselors,
Static list is only for you.
it's only for me?
Groups
It
are
would
public.
be-
Well, groups are public to people who have access to all,
Okay,
to like this,
Those
the
students.
central coordinator.
okay,
So like, let's say that, say that someone doesn't have all access, but they have access to the groups of the fraternity or sorority they advise, and maybe the people in their program. Then that's who all would show up in their dashboard,
okay,
and not every student.
okay.
So a group, we have a lot of groups, but we had a group of our Broad 101.
Okay,
We have a group of the athletic teams,
okay,
Bobby Greer advisors. I can create a group of anything you want.
okay,
And you just let me know. Static list, I think are really good at like a brief overview of what you have, but as far as running really in-depth reports that you would need from maybe us that maybe you don't have access to, that's something you need to create a group about and then ask us to run a report, and then we could go further.
okay, that's awesome, 'cause I will
Yeah, please do.
I also have the transition
Mhm.
student success classes.
Yes.
And all that. That'd be great to be able to
Yeah, and you should
follow it with
double
it.
check when
But
you.
like I said, I haven't used this.
Yeah.
it's been crazy.
Double
So-
check when you have that class and make sure that you are given access to that course group, because sometimes, just as a software, the IT people constantly talk and some things are missed. So if you see like, hey, Matt, I'm in an FYE course, but I don't have access to my students, let me know and I can go through manually and enter it. And again, it's maybe a day turnover.
Well, of course, because of the way that they have that set up, it's kind of weird for me anyway, because they have the teacher sometimes, but then they don't have me.
Exactly. We're trying to change that.
Okay.
Especially now with Peggy in our office, we realize how important you as the FYE instructor is to their success. So we definitely want you to have access. So again, if you see anything wrong with your Mapworks profile access, you're not going to hurt my feelings by contacting me. So just let me know. And if I don't know the answer, we have a guy named Scott who I have open communication with, and I'll send him an email and I'll let you know as soon as I find something out. And I'm still learning this stuff. So again, just, might not be answering everything, but again, I meet with that Scott guy. We talk monthly, but we also have, like I said, open line of communication, and he's really, really helpful. So I will get on it as soon as I can, and the best I can. But yeah, anything we can do to help you all. And see, I don't know if you wanted access to the orientation leaders too, because you're up with the class. That's something you could have too, to where if Mallory's out and you need to make a referral on them, you don't have to ask for her login.
Yeah.
Or students at it label, identify as veterans. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, just in an Excel sheet, one column first name, one column last name, M number. That's what I need, and I can get you a group like that.